So basically the way this console works is each one of these keys is it's got a lock off button, up and down. So if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth moves it.
Okay.
So there's multiple steps on each key position. So when you come over to this side of the console, then you got your sweep here, or all keys button to move all the keys at once.
Okay.
And then over here, you can lock the whole console so nothing works. Unlock. You can go preset. Let's say you wanted to set up a varnish or something while you're running already. You could just hit the preset button and then select the unit and move the keys up. Even though you're running a job right now, it's not going to change the key setting of what you're running.
Okay.
So like for instance, once I deselect the preset, it went right back to where it was. So it never actually moved the key. It just stored all the information right here.
Oh, okay.
So like, let's say I was running
say,
the...
say you have varnish on unit 3. That what you're putting? Like say you have varnish on unit 3. Okay.
So like now, let's say I was done with that job and I wanted to start with the varnish job. So I would just come over here, like that was the job. Originally, I would hit preset, and it still got my 25 in there that I set. I would just hit start, and now it's actually going to move it.
Oh, cool.
So just a little feature that they added to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the way you can tell it's preset is, you see how it had a graph going up?
Yeah.
And preset, it's just got a line. It just moves a line. So it's actually not moving the key. It's just giving you a position for for when you do hit start. So now, let's say I wanted to copy that all to all the units. So I could do preset. I can't do it in preset, but I could just do copy and copy whatever I had moved here to all the other units. And hit copy, hit 1, 2, 3, 4, they'd all flash, hit start. It would move them all. So now this button here, and see whenever it flashes like that, that means you got a stuck key somewhere. So if you go to that unit, you got to unlock it, go to unit 4, nothing's flashing, but something didn't move, you know what I mean? So more than likely I got to re-zero one of the keys. So whenever that's flashing, just hit lock, unlock, and it'll go right back to working again.
Okay.
This is everything to the right key.
Everything to the right key?
Yeah, so if I hit preset and that, moves everything to the right of that key.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
say you do it all, say you need only this side to go up, you can press all.
You could lock out some spots.
And just go,
yeah. Go around it, you know what I mean? Then you'd have to hit start,
It started to work too.
Right. So there's a stuck key.
Yeah.
So that's the one, it's flashing. So now it's not gonna let us do anything until we hit unlock. Alright, so now 0 obviously means exactly you can select all of them at once or one of them, it's up to you.
Just select all of them and 0 them all out?
Yeah, every night you should 0 them all out. With these keys, let's see it, we got 2 units flashing, right, because of that.
Yeah, that's all.
So every night you should 0 out the keys in these fountains because this is a real shitty design. The ink wants to go behind the blade.
That's how mine is too. And I learned how to 0 them out, so it's been
right. So that's everything in this section of the console. As far as the screens go, so you've got your first one's counter. Actually, we'll go across the top. So it's got your sheet count of what was just ran. It's got your job number from pre-press and the run speed that it's set at right now. And then if you look here, it's got the rotation set up in there. kind of gives you a pictogram of where the press is at right now. And then this is telling us that we're low on oil. So this is counter on or off. You can turn it on or off here, or you can turn it on or off at the press too.
Oh, you're doing?
Yeah, right here.
Oh, okay.
And it changes it on the screen when you do that.
Oh, okay.
So here's your reset button. Here's where you're going to put in a sheet count, like if you want to count down.
Count down, okay. It's like 25.
Right.
25,000, count down to 25.
Right, count down, it would shut off the feeder and stop. So here's like if you wanted to batch count. And it would beep at you when, like if you wanted to, yeah, like if you wanted to flag something, it's going to go beep, 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 and then it'll tell you to put the flag in. So, and this is just a redundant sheet count. Most guys use this just for a sheet count for the whole day, you know, or week or shift or whatever.
They never zero it out.
Right, you can zero that out too. Total. So, ink stirring. So what that means is that while the press is idling, these keys would go from 0 to 99, 99 to 0, back and forth like that. And it's nice when you're doing UV ink because it keeps the ink going down to the ball. Because you guys don't have agitators on here, you know, pushing the ink down. So that kind of helps bring the ink down to the fountain roller.
That does?
Yeah, by opening it up. And it also keeps the keys from sticking. They think. What I don't like about it is it's...
So if you're stirring the ink, you could actually run a job and stir the ink yourself? Or
no, in between. Right. So, as far as it keeping the inks free, what I don't like about it is now you're allowing that solvent to get between the keys, you know what I mean? Because you got ink in there instead of oil, right? So,
yeah, I don't think I would use that.
And that little tiny motor, you know, you're wearing it out by doing that. You're going 0 to 99, 99 to 0, you know, repeatedly. Yeah. It's just putting more wear and tear on that little motor.
We'll just do it the same way we can do it on this more.
Yeah.
Push it down ourselves.
So then over here, you have side tabs and top tabs. So each one of these will have a side tab usually. So this side tab here is your sheet detection at the feeder. So if it's running late, it'll be in the red over here. If it's green, it'll be right in the middle. Or it's going to be over here to early, to red and early. So green right in here, red if it's late or early. So you could go up and change your feeder timing or your skew, because this is non-upside, upside, to make them ride in the green. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they used to, on a newer style press, they actually have a handheld tablet. You can take it all the way up there and watch it while you're adjusting it. So that you can see what your adjustments do instead of having to run all the way back here
and look at it
look.
and go right back.
Right. So the next screen then is water ink screen. So these are all your water speeds right now.
Okay.
You touch the button, they change, you know, instantaneously. The next side tab down would be the ductors, automatic or manually on or completely off like this. So that's off, that's automatic, and that's manually on. So normally, normal production, you know, like you have these units inked up, you would be like this. And then down here, form rollers, same thing. You would be, this is ink forms to manually go on. So this is all manually go on with impression, or automatically go on with impression, I mean, not manually. So this would be, the press would, you'd drop water, you'd feed sheets, and all these would, you know, automatically start ducting and drop the forms to the plate to print. So that'll be your normal run position. And then over here is just a graph. What you would use it for, I really don't know. It's like one of those Japanese, you know, things like, oh, look, you can see your fountains. But you can see it right here, you know. So I could
So not
select
you.
it. I could select that unit. It would tell me the key opening, the number of keys, and the found roller sweep. But I've got all that right here.
It's just like mine over there.
Yeah.
Mine does the same thing.
Right.
It shows.
So this is preset and this is current. So if you wanted to see what job you had preset in there, maybe that would be good for that. If you had already like manually set a preset.
Okay.
So it'd show you what the preset was without you having to come over here and,
Preset it yourself.
instead of reaching 6 inches and hitting preset. So PDS, same thing. It's just showing you where your scans are. Why you would do it, I don't know. Do you have a scanner on that press?
No,
No.
40 has
All right.
a scanner.
All right. Have you ran it? The
No, I
scanner?
haven't ran
Okay. So we'll get into that. So the next tab, sheet
So
size.
this is actually this scanner itself?
Yeah. Yeah, that's your scanner there. We'll go into that in pretty good detail. And I have a video on how to use it
Okay.
that I can share with you. So this is all your sheet sizes in millimeters. So your lateral and your vertical, and then your sheet thickness. So it's all preset on this press. So you can go in here and you can make your own list of sizes, or you can set your own size, whatever you want to put in there in millimeters.
How would you set the set? So the set, my opinion was...
And enter, yes. So like,
But I did that last time with, what's his name, Lil was here.
see, they go red because the pile's all the way up. So it doesn't want the chain guide to crash into it.
That's why it didn't want to work.
So it'll be green saying these are available to work, but this one, it wants you to lower the pile first. And then, yeah, same way. You can set it. Well, thickness don't matter. It'll go automatically. That's just the impression cylinder. So like, for instance, I go 0.15, enter. I'll drop down the paper pile. Close the cover. Oh, went back to where it was because I never hit start.
Okay.
So let's just go to this one, set. So now impression's green, it wants to move, right? Hasn't done it yet until you hit start. So now it'll gray out once it finishes. So for that one, it can happen anytime. You know, you can hit that button. The other one, it wants you to move the feeder and the delivery down. And pull on the feeder, you need to pull the paper back so the guides don't crash into it.
Oh. On the back side, right?
Yeah. So on this end of your pull guide side, which side you're going to use for the pull guide. So it offsets the pull guides depending on which side you're going to run.
It has to be on this side. That'll be your left.
Right. So the manual move is to move your guides or the pull guide. So let's say that's grayed out, so that's the one we're not using. This is the one we're using for a pull guide. So every time I click this, it instantly moves. So that's, you know, 100th of a millimeter. Right? Or 10th of a millimeter, I mean. So if I go to offset, it's going to move the rear guides and the pull guides at the same time because it's going to be a bigger move in offset. So let's say you had like a 2.5 millimeter move to make. So now I could go up here and go 1 is 0.5, 2 is 1, 3, 4, 5, 2.5. Instead of sitting there going,
So that will move both sides.
that
right?
move, you can see it move this one,
Yeah.
the chain delivery guides. It moved them for us automatically. Because it was a big move. But if I go over here, it's not going to move them until I tell it to. See, it went all the way there. It still hasn't moved any of these.
also actually moves both sides.
Right. So in this situation, they only want you to do small moves. When you go to offsets, big moves, and it does the chain delivery for you. No sense in pushing this, 100 times, and here when you can just go to offset and push it a couple.
Yeah.
So then we go over here to impression. So this is what they call impression compensation screen. So if I needed more or less squeeze in a unit because they had no blanket on it, I can go here and do that. Job by job.
Job by job.
And then here is where we name our paper and basically set a preset program for different types of paper. Size and weight, for thickness and the sheet size. So that way when we go to our list, it would be in here. So we can get rid of all of these and put in preset sizes and save them. And that way when you go to here, you can just select it and it would set everything for you. So that's in settings there. So that's number 1, then we'd have number 2. They got 100 pound in there, and number 3.
This is 2 different pre-size settings, right?
Right. So this is the size and this is the thickness. So all we gotta do is enter those into the system. See, they named them all with metric weights. So the next screen over is cleaning. Roller cleaning.
That's automatic wash.
Yeah. Not going to do anything until I hit start. It starts grayed out because the press isn't idling. It doesn't want to.
It has to idle.
It has to idle the roller wash.
So it just don't do it automatic yet.
Right. Blanket wash, same thing. So it will do an impression cylinder clean, but it uses the blanket cleaner. So what it does is it brings the impression cylinder to 0, puts the blanket and impression on impression, and just cleans the blanket longer. So it's okay.
That'll be all right.
You're still gonna have to hand clean it once in a while.
I'm waiting to hear that one.
Yeah.
And over there too. Still gotta use a hand cleaner too.
So like, let's say you were roller washing and you wanted to drop down into this and this. So you can do this. And once this is done, it'll automatically switch over. So you could be doing other stuff while this is doing its thing. So this is the actual programs that are being used. So this is the solution is in 7, the water's in 3, and these are the actual settings. And we'll go over that on a little later on what these all mean.
Yeah.
And here's how you would engage the forms to the plate if you wanted to clean up with the ink forms on the plate. And if you wanted to clean up the fountain roller at the same time. You'd have to select this before you hit start.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you that. How you do that? You have to do it in different. I thought you had to do it in different stages. So
Yeah.
you actually could you actually clean the roller, but before you do that, you have to clean the ductors and the form.
You would have to select it here. Well, you don't have to do the forms. It's up to you if you want to. But if you wanted to clean the ink fountain ball, the fountain roller, you'd have to select it there first.
So it starts ducting, right?
Yeah, and then hit start.
Okay.
And then over here, same with the blanket cleaning. It's in program 4 right now. The difference here is it shows us 4 is 10 contact times with the cleaner. So what I normally do is I put a job on that's heavy coverage and see how well it cleans up. If it needs more or less, I'll change the program here. I want to use as little cloth as possible,
Yeah.
so I'm not always changing cloth all the time.
So you can select the unit there, how many times you can use, right?
Right.
Like, okay.
Yeah, some units, like a lot of guys will dust
Depends
with.
on the coverage.
Yeah, a lot of guys will dust with one, so they'll put it like lower because it's just taking spray powder off, not taking ink off.
So how can you tell when you're running out of cloth too?
It will light up over here. It'll light up right here and show you which unit's out of cloth. It'll be a red symbol there, and it'll say unit 3, 1, 2, or 3.
It'll let you know before it runs out.
Well, no, it only lets you know once it runs out. Here's if you wanted to clean the plate at the same time as blankets. You could select that right there. Depends on your plates and how sensitive they are. Some guys don't like to do that unless it's the end of the job.
Just to clean the plate, right?
Right. Or they got real bad hickeys or something, they want to clean the plate, and then, you know, I'd still do it by hand myself.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, so this is the impression cylinder contacts. So 5 is 28 contacts for the impression. So 28 would be, you know, they split that between the blanket and the impression cylinder. So you're just going an extended time because you're doing the impression. So next screen, this is your preset screen. So this is where you get your job information from pre-press. So you would go into here, and they don't look like they hooked it up to me. But let's see.
I don't think they ever did.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I got a data cable there, but I don't think they ever named it, unless it's one of these. See, this is the hard drive. Yeah, anytime it's RY4, those are jobs that were saved on here previous. So like if I select it, it should show me a thumbnail of that job down here. But none of that was set up here. Get out of there, go back. There, like that. So maybe this is what they did, hard drive 2, I don't know, for a year. Maybe. We'll have to check it out and see. Yeah, these are all American sizes, so I bet this is what you guys did.
Not them.
No? Hard to say. So I can always select the job and take a closer look at it. Yeah, that's the job that's there. Yeah. So they must have set it up. So let's say you wanted to do that job, right? So you'd select it. Now it puts it up here, right? Well, we need to transfer it up to there. We're going to say what type of paper it's on. I'm going to say it's on matte coated. Confirm is just going to do the same thing. Show us where the keys are and give us another thumbnail. So right here, if I go to preset inking, or wait, here, right here, ink preset from disk. If I hit start, it should transfer it up here. So now it's over here already to the console. So that's what pre-press says the key settings are supposed to be. And then we can customize that to be right on this side. What's that?
Probably never driving the keys.
Yeah.
So you gotta do a little bit.
So ink preset is bringing it to the console. Start inking. going to ink all the rollers for us just with a thin film. This preset inking is going to do all of this, bring it to the console. We brought it to the console, we started up inking, then this is going to load this profile. It's going to ink that in a few revolutions, drop the water, drop the ink, and feed paper. So you got to be sure you're ready for that one.
Let's see. That day happened.
Yeah. So ductor contact times is just telling you, let's say you had a job that was, you couldn't control it with the scanner, it just keeps over inking. I can alter the number of times the ductor contacts, so I can bring that down, and then it'll always show up.
It'll show like every 6 sheets shows up.
Right, exactly. So when I'm in that screen, it shows me that's applied. I can go over and look. Oh yeah, on the next job, I forgot I had that set. Now I can go in here and put it back. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's sense on this 28 has.
Yeah. And then data is basically saving data or deleting data from the hard drive.
So we're gonna need a disk move?
No, it's got an internal hard drive. And it's, you know, you got this fiber optic cable, the pre-press.
All right.
That's going all the way in there. So then the settings are, this is why the press knows where we're at. Because somebody set that up, the pattern. So normally when I go in here to select a job, I got to go down here and select the pattern. So if I go to pattern 2, they got spot color. Spot color 1, spot color 2. You can make those anything you want. I could, you know, make it S3, S4, black, cyan, magenta, whatever. It doesn't matter. So you can customize patterns. That's going to be probably your most common one is that one right there.
So say we have to move a unit around, say move black to the first unit. How would you do that?
So just select it, hit black, enter, and then clear. So now you see what I did up here? It showed us. So now this is your ink curve. This is something that's very confusing. We'll get into it in detail. I don't know if you got that on that press or not. Where you can set these curves for how much ink is going in. So what we try to achieve is like up to color in 50 to 100 sheets.
Go through 100 sheets.
50 to 100 is ideal.
Really? 50 to 100?
If everything's set up correctly. I probably have, and I'm not kidding you, a handful of presses across the country that are able to do that. Because they really spend a lot of time doing this. Most people are just like, nah, I'll run 300-400 sheets. You know? But with the scanner, it makes it nice. Because you're able to make the scanner chase the color. Because the scanner will automatically move the keys.
Really?
Yeah, you don't have to do it. Full circle. Closed loop color.
I see that.
Yeah. I do too. I want to see if it works on this one. So yeah, closed loop color. So these are the actual curves. And like I said, we'll get into this in great detail. I don't want to confuse it too much just yet. Now these are where all the presets for that programming. Your start inking, your feedback inking for the scanner, your preset inking, and your smart end inking is, well, what it means is when you have a preset count in here, let's say that count was 5,000, right? and I go back over to this Smart End inking. So the Smart End inking, let me select it, turns on at 200 sheets. It's activated. Now it knows at 5,000. So at 4,800 sheets, it's going to turn on. And it's going to turn off the ductors for the last 20 sheets, so that it sheets off some of the ink on the rollers, so the next job you start fresh. So let's say you were running a big solid job and you had to go down to just copy. That's a good feature to have, put your preset count in. The only problem is you have to hit your sheet count. If you don't hit the sheet count, it never turns on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So, okay, just a second. Running solid job cutter, okay?